famous for having some of the highest amount of fan requests to be a fighter in Smash, but will forever be relegated to a spot as an assist trophy. Even Sakurai himself seems adamant about keeping this man out of the roster, purposefully jabbing at the purple poser at any chance he can get. I don't care for Waluigi much myself, but I still recognize his potential, and who knows, maybe someday he'll get his chance. But I will say, please, don't harass Sakurai over his current exclusion. Honestly, to anyone who feels the need to throw negativity towards Sakurai over Waluigi, you really need to get over yourselves. While I can't say I know why Sakurai hasn't included him yet, it's still his choice to do so, and you need to respect that whether you like it or not. Anyway, ranting aside, on to Waluigi himself for the whole -3 people who don't know who he is. Waluigi was created not only to be a rival to the younger green Mario bro Luigi, as a direct comparison to Mario's rivalry with Wario, but also to be a partner in crime for Wario as well. It worked well, since in Waluigi's debut game, Mario Tennis for the Nintendo 64, everyone in that game had a doubles partner except for Wario, so they ended up killing 2 birds with 1 stone by including Waluigi. Waluigi himself is sly, sneaky, and overall mischievous. He's hot-tempered and enjoys seeing other people have a rotten time. As such, that type of personality would lead to a rather interesting character for Smash for sure. His tall, lanky body type would lead to him being a below-average to average weight class for the most part. He'd definitely be quick and have some erratic and strong-hitting moves, but a lot of his moveset would probably leave him open for punishment. Something else to keep in mind for Waluigi's moveset: since his only appearances include spin-off titles like Mario Party or the Mario Sports games, that's where his moveset should be most derived from. Small confession, a lot of those moveset I actually already had in mind for Daisy if she were playable in her own right, but since she was announced as an Echo for Peach, I went ahead and moved the set to Waluigi. Don't get me wrong though, I'm still ecstatic for Daisy being playable at all, as I'm sure a couple of you may already know. A brand new Daisy! Yes! Anyways, Waluigi would have 2 jumps, and he would be able to both wall jump and crawl. Waluigi would have a 3-hit jab, starting with a single punch that looks like how he punches in the Mario Party games, and then 2 underhook kicks, with the second kick being the stronger kick. He would step forward a little bit after the first kick as well. This jab would actually be a bit of a reference to how he looked in Mario Party 3 when he beat up Bowser. His dash attack would be a leaping kick. Think of how a soccer player looks when they run to kick the ball for a goal. His side tilt would be a basic swing from his tennis racket, similar to how it looks when Waluigi makes a swing in the tennis games. His up tilt would have him swing a baseball bat overhead from front to back. A little unruly, but I'd see Waluigi doing something like that. His down tilt would be a low to the ground slide kick, similar to how a soccer player would slide for the ball. This would actually also be similar to Cloud's down tilt. Waluigi's side smash would be a baseball bat swing. It would look just like it does in the Mario baseball games, even down to the charging, and it would probably work near identical to how Ness's side smash works, even being able to reflect projectiles. It probably would have a lot more ending lag than Ness's though, but it would also be a lot farther reaching thanks to Waluigi's longer arms. Waluigi's up smash could be a tennis serve swing, having him jump into the air and swing his tennis racket overhead from back to front, being able to cause a low diagonal angled spike if it sweet spots. There could also be a tennis ball that Waluigi actually hits that acts as a small, very weak projectile. It would do like 1% of damage and at most would cause a small flinch. And his down smash would be a golf club swing that goes from back to front, with the sweet spot of the attack being on the club's head. This would be able to cover everywhere around Waluigi except for directly above him. Really, all of Waluigi's smash attacks are at their best when looking straight at the opponent, and are more mediocre while the opponent is behind Waluigi. You wouldn't be facing away from a ball in any of these sports, would you? That said, for his aerials, I need to move away from the sports, since there really aren't too many air sports that Waluigi has actually participated in that I know of. So instead of sports, his aerials would have to involve another one of Waluigi's favorite pastimes, and that's dancing. For his neutral air, he would spin in numerous circles while in his signature leg up pose. His forward air would have him do a horizontal spin drill kick. It would work similar to Sonic's forward air, but his feet would be forward, not his head. Waluigi's back air would be a quick backwards kick with both feet, similar to Bowser's back air. His up air would be a front to back headbutt. it would end with him doing his signature R pose, like he does in Mario Power Tennis and a few other games as well. And finally, his down air would have him fly straight towards the ground with his whole body out. Then, when he hits the ground, he'll do a random pose. This is a reference to his stage entrance in Mario Strikers Charged. Waluigi would have a pretty good grab range with those long arms of his. His pummel would be a quick knee jab. His forward throw would have him spin the opponent and then throw them, like what Mario and Wario do for their back throws, but Waluigi's would end off with a dance pose, and his back throw would be the exact same, but being thrown backwards obviously, as well as doing a different pose. His up throw would have Waluigi toss the opponent above himself, then hit them with a jump punch, like he does when he hits a dice block in Mario Party. And his down throw would have him stomp his opponent into the ground, then smack them out with his racket, just like he does as an assist trophy. I'm sure you all love references to him being an assist trophy, right? Okay, on to the specials. For Waluigi specials, we're gonna move away from the sports stuff and use his other spin-off appearances for these. The specials are supposed to be special and interesting, right? Well then we can't use sports for that! Anyways, for his neutral special, I think it would be cool if Waluigi used a dice block from Mario Party. It would work as a type of temporary buffer for Waluigi, like Shulk's Minato Arts or Wii Fit Trainer's Deep Breathing. But in this case, it would be a completely random in how it changes Waluigi, all depending on the number that Waluigi hits on the dice block. If he were to roll a 1, 2, or 3, this would actually nerf Waluigi and make his run and attack speed slower, just like how when you roll these numbers in Mario Party, you don't really go anywhere, and people just get annoyed. The speed drop would actually vary on the numbers as well, with 1 slowing him down the most, but 3 only slowing him down a little bit. If he rolls between the numbers 4 and 9, however, this actually gives him a speed buff and running speed only, with 4 speeding him up only a little bit, and 9 speeding him up the most. And finally, if he were to roll that oh so glorious number 10, he gains a speed buff even faster than what 9 would give him, and on top of that, his attacks move faster and all deal more launching power, so you gotta hope for that 10. These buffs would last for about 20 seconds at a time before Waluigi automatically returns to normal. You also cannot end the effects manually, you have to stick it out for its whole use. You also can't use the dice block again until Waluigi is back to normal, just like how you need to wait for your next turn in order to hit another dice block in Mario Party. Waluigi would also be glowing a little bit, to signify that he's still under the dice block's effects. Needless to say, if you play Mario Party and are prone to getting a lot of low rolls, I suggest avoiding this special, otherwise Waluigi might also be leading you to losing some friends. For Waluigi's side special, it would work very similarly to Wario's bike or Bowser Jr.'s Clown Car side special, but it would have Waluigi hop into a cart from Mario Kart. Does kart driving count as a sport? I don't know, what even is a sport? The cart would appear out of nowhere, where you can drive straight forward, running into anybody who's in his way. He'd be able to jump out of the cart as it moves as well, just like Wario and his bike, so it would allow him another recovery option. If he does abandon his cart, it'll spin out, and eventually create a small, weak explosion that can damage opponents. For Waluigi's up special, I think it'd be hilarious to see Waluigi with an item that's rather infamous in the Mario Party games, and that's the Warp Block. Waluigi would quickly pull one out, and will teleport into any direction, just like Mewtwo and Palutena's up Bs. Except Waluigi's would work a little bit differently. Remember, this is the Warp Block. For those who don't know what that is, it does teleport a player to a different spot on the map, but only at the expense of another player, having the user of the Warp Block actually switch places with a random player on the board. So in Smash, it could work similarly. Disappearing wouldn't have any hitbox on it, but reappearing will. If another player is hit by Waluigi reappearing after he teleports, the foe that's hit will be warped to the spot where Waluigi first disappeared from. I can see this being a very nasty, yet hilarious attack to have to deal with. Perfect for Waluigi. And finally, for Waluigi's down B, it could be a trap that he could lay in the form of the fake item blocks from the Mario Kart series. For those of you who don't know what the fake item block is, it's a sneaky type of bomb that almost resembles a normal item block from Mario Kart. Item blocks are supposed to be helpful and give items that can help change the outcome of a race, but fake item blocks just explode when hit, which stops a racer in their tracks. So in Smash, it could work similarly, but I added some innovations to make it more interesting. Waluigi can put a block down right in front of himself, or if he's airborne, throw it straight down, just like how Pac-Man throws his fire hydrant straight down while airborne. The fake item block would of course just sit there, and if anyone touches it, including Waluigi, it would create a small explosion with very deadly damage and launch power. The block would only explode in one of two ways, either if it's touched by an opponent, or if it remains idle for too long. Let's say that it'll explode by itself if it just sits there for about 20 to 25 seconds. However, it will not explode if hit by projectiles or other items. It'll just ignore those. I think it's okay to make it very dangerous, since it's also a very obvious trap, unlike Snake's C4 or Isabelle's Lloyd trap, which are much more subtle, and the foes can be tricked into walking into those if they're not careful or adept enough. But a random colorful block that just sits out in the open, yeah, that's easy to avoid. So more often than not, you'd have to be knocked in or thrown into the fake item block for it to actually be useful. Plus, the fact that Waluigi can also be hurt by it is just a bonus. However, let's say that the fake item block was not only a bomb, but it could also spawn items. If the block is hit, or is on screen for too long to the point where it just explodes by itself, it could have a random chance to drop a random Mario Kart related item. Half of the time it wouldn't drop anything, but the other half of the time it could. I'll put it in terms of percentages. Let's say that there would be an 18% chance for it to drop a banana peel, a 12% chance to drop a Koopa shell, a 9% chance to drop a super mushroom, a 4% chance to drop a bob-omb, a 3% chance to drop a lightning bolt, a 2% chance to drop a bullet bill, a 1% chance to drop a starman, and finally, also at a 1% chance, it could drop the ever-infamous blue shell. I know there are some other items in Smash that do make an appearance in Mario Kart, like the Fire Flower and the Boomerang, but I think the items I listed already are enough. And really, that was just to make it a little more interesting. It could very well also be used to drop any item, I guess, that's in Smash Bros, but I don't know, I guess it just depends. I much prefer the idea of it having a set chance of dropping only those specific items, because then it can even be used when items are turned off. But oh well. Overall, I think Waluigi specials add a very good variety and randomness as well as unpredictability to create enough chaos and rage to really make fights interesting. Exactly how Waluigi is known for being. With that said, however, because his moveset is so extravagant, I don't think there's really a reason to give him a character-specific gimmick. Heck, I think it can be argued that his specials can be seen as a gimmick in and of themselves. So because of that, let's skip straight to his final smash. Waluigi's final smash would be his Mega Strike from Mario Strikers Charged, Thorny Waluigi. He'd jump into the air and begin raining down numerous fast-moving soccer balls down onto the stage, with the balls doing small damage but have high launching power. Each time a ball hits the ground, it explodes into an explosion of thorns that slowly grow, and do small but high flinching damage if a foe touches them, effectively trapping any poor foe that touches the thorns, and the thorns will not disappear until the final smash ends. That said, just like how the soccer balls can be stopped by the goalies in Strikers, foes can actually hit the balls away, keeping them from hitting the ground and creating more thorns. But they are fast moving, so unless the foe thinks their reflexes are good enough to do so, it could just be better to dodge and let Waluigi score those goals. And finally, the aesthetics of Waluigi, starting with his alternate colors. His first color would be based off of Luigi's colors, and I know he'd hate it. His second can give him green overalls and a red shirt and hat with white polka dots. This would be based off the Piranha Plant, which we've seen in the past has a lot of relations to Waluigi. His third would give him a white shirt with a dull brown hat and overalls, and reference to Foreman Spike from the game Wrecking Crew. I did this one because there seems to be some hint of similarities between Waluigi and Spike, but who knows. His fourth would give him yellow overalls with an orange shirt and hat, the colors of Princess Daisy, in reference to the hints that Waluigi seems to have a crush on Daisy, even though she has absolutely no interest in him. Thank goodness, too. Luigi x Daisy for the win! His fifth would just have him in the ice flower colors. I know Waluigi's never really been seen with this flower, or even any power-up at all to begin with, but I'd figured the colors would be a good contrast compared to the rest of the colors I've chosen anyway. In which case, his last two alts would be costumes, with the first one being his tennis outfit that we see him wearing in Mario Tennis Aces, and the second being his armored soccer gear which we see in Mario Strikers Charged. Waluigi's stage intro would have him driving into the stage in his cart, but he would peel out and crash, causing him to fly out of the cart and land on his face. Fitting for the man who can't have anything go right in his life. For his first taunt, it would have Waluigi swing his arms in circles then do a pose. He's done this a few times, but it's most notable in Mario Toadstool Tour whenever he gets a birdie. His second taunt would have him slyly snickering while swiping his hands together, then yelling, "Loser!" He does this whenever he scores a goal in Mario Strikers Charged. And his third taunt is another from Mario Strikers Charged, but it's by far the most important one. The ever-infamous Waluigi Crotch Taunt. Waluigi, yeah, yeah, yeah! And finally, for Waluigi's victory animations. His first one could have him doing his winning animation dance poses from when he gets an eagle or higher in Mario Golf World Tour, rose and all. His second can have him drive in on his cart while doing the victory animation he does whenever he gets first place in Mario Kart. And for his final victory pose, while not necessarily a direct reference to anything, it's still something that Waluigi would very much do. And that's having him pointing and laughing at his competition. Smug jerk. And that does it for the tall purple man himself. Sure, he has a lot of potential, but in the end, like I said before, it's all Sakurai's final say. Waluigi may one day be a fighter in a future Smash game, or he may forever be relegated to assist trophy status, who knows. But people really do need to learn to accept things as they are, and stop harassing poor Sakurai over it. The man's doing his best, and giving us such great games for us to enjoy for hours upon hours. But if you still feel the need to rag on Sakurai over not including your favorite character, then you really are just as bad as Waluigi himself. Anyways, if you'd like to see your favorite character be given a possible moveset down the line, leave a comment down below, or let me know on Twitter at BrawlFan1 on Twitch. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Take care!